Good morning, everybody. Welcome to what should be the last day of corn planting, we hope anyway. Got the last bit of our seed loaded up. We got a cold, foggy morning this morning. It's about 45 degrees out here, but it's only going to get colder the next few days. First, what we got to do is we got to go ahead and get the planter greased and serviced, ready to go. And then Pioneer and University of Tennessee Extension is going to be out here in about 45 minutes, and we're going to put in their variety trials. I think we got 31 or 32 different plots we got to put in, so it's going to take a little while today. Then we got the rest of this farm to plant, which is about 78 acres here. We got a full day's worth of work ahead of us, and hopefully with any luck we'll get all this wrapped up before we got to turn the lights on tonight. All right, we got the first two varieties of our 31 or 33 different varieties put in the planter. We're planting a 6-row plot, probably about 600 feet long. We're doing this for both University of Tennessee and Pioneer, and what we're doing, we're planting different varieties on each pass. We're planting 6 rows of each different variety, and then we'll come in at harvest time and we'll weigh each 6 rows separately to be able to determine which varieties yielded the best and which ones yielded the worst. And then this will go into a database with all the other plots that they have in the area, West Tennessee or whatever, and farmers will be able to look at this information to decide what varieties they want to plant next year based on the properties and how well they yield. So it takes quite a bit of time to put in and then again to harvest. It's definitely well worth the data that we get off of it, because it helps us make educated decisions about what are the best varieties to plant on our ground in the following years. All right, well, we planted the first 2 varieties, and now we got to the other end and they're vacuuming out what little seed is left in the hoppers. And then we'll put 2 more varieties in, plant to the other end, and repeat it another 14 times. All right, we just got done with the test plots. I've got another plot to put in. I'm putting in a seed size plot for Pioneer, where I'm putting in 25 acres of the same variety twice, but they did some different sorting to give it more consistent seed size, and seeing if that makes any difference on more even emergence or yield. But first I got to plant the end rows on this farm, so we're going to load up with a couple bags of varieties and get these end rows planted, and then load up with test plot seed. That ought to get the majority of this field planted. All right, we got the first 25 acres worth of this plot loaded up. The test plot itself is going to be 50 acres in total. We're in the nice big 78 acre field. We use about 20 acres of it up in the variety plots, and the rest of it is going to be in this seed size plot. It's the same variety, got 2 different seed sizes. One of them has been graded for a more consistent seed size, and we'll try and see if there's any influence on more even emergence on this corn. But we're going to plant 25 acres of this one seed size, alternating every other pass, and then load up with the other one and go in and fill the passes we skipped. This is pretty much a study just trying to get the most even emergence we can on corn because ideally for maximum yield, you want every single seed to germinate within about 4 hours of its other, to actually come up through the ground within about 4 hours of its neighbor. If it's more than 4 hours later coming up out of the ground than what the ones on either side of it was, the others will outgrow and be more competitive, and the later emerging one basically kind of turns into a weed. It doesn't put on as big of an ear. And the goal to high yielding corn is you want to have a picket fence stand of exact carbon copies of plants all the way down the road to get maximum yield. Corn is extremely sensitive to a bunch of different factors. Anything that delays the emergence or fertility, just a mistiming on your fertility, not having the right thing available at the right time. Corn is so extremely specific in its needs and timing to make maximum yield, and you misjudge or mistime one single thing, it can really affect your corn yield. And everything begins at emergence. If they don't all emerge uniformly, you've already hurt your yield, and there's not a thing you can do to catch up on that. Once it's gone, it's gone. There's no making up for it. So hopefully this study will be beneficial to Pioneer in helping them learn what's most important on the grading when it comes to seed sizes, and what's the most uniform emergence. But anyway, we got about 55 acres left to plant on this farm, and then we got to head back up to Porter Cable and finish up where we didn't get done Saturday night, where we ran out of seed. And we'll be done with the corn planting. And like I said last week, I think we're going to turn our attentions directly on soybeans, try and get them planted as quickly as possible. We've only got, I think it's either 150 or 170 acres of full season beans to plant. Not very much at all by our standards. We got supposed to be a pretty good shot of rain coming in Friday, so it's Monday today, so if we can get them in the ground tomorrow and finish up Wednesday, that'll give them 48 hours in the ground before that rain comes in. And even though it's cool right now, soil temperatures were around 51 degrees this morning, and the soil temperatures are actually going to cool off a little bit more the next couple of days, because I think Tuesday night and Wednesday night we got lows in the mid-30s, so it's going to cool off just a little bit more. But with the soil being in as good a shape and dry as it is, I feel okay putting soybeans in the ground. I know up there in the Midwest, farther north, Illinois, Iowa, I think even Michigan, there's some guys that have already got quite a few beans planted. And from my experience, soybeans tolerate cold soils a little bit better than what corn does. As long as the soils aren't saturated, it should be okay. That's what we're hoping anyway. Hopefully we'll have a pretty easy day today on getting done. Hopefully we'll be home long before dark today. That's the goal anyway. All right, well, we just got run out of the first variety. Let's go back over here to the trailer and load up with the second variety. All right, as you can see, we got the first variety put out. We run out of seed. Now we're back to load up with it's the same variety but a different seed size, and fill in all those passes that we skipped.
If I got one that will work, I don't care if it is new or how much it costs. It's something gonna need to be running.
Well, apparently ever since I visited Joy's Farms there, about a month ago, they've been having some of that Griggs Farms look. I must have done some kind of voodoo magic on them or something, played some kind of spell on them whenever I was at their farm without even realizing it. Right there in that latest video, that new sprayer they got had a rebuilt radiator on it and took it to the field, and apparently it started leaking right off the bat. It's supposed to have been fixed, and then they had to turn around and buy a new radiator for the dang thing. That sounds just like the kind of thing we go through around here. We moving on along. I was hoping to be a little bit farther along than what we've been, but having to fill up multiple times with seed kind of slowed us down a little bit. We got about 13 acres left on this farm. We're just about out of our test plot seed and gonna have to go back and fill up one last time. We got about 13 acres left on this farm. We got 2 acres left on another farm that we weren't able to spread because the guy was spreading chicken litter on it while we were planting it, and I couldn't plant down there where they were loading, otherwise it all got smashed in the ground, never would have come up. And then we got to go back up to the Porter Cable farm and got like 4 acres left in that bottom that I didn't get finished up Friday night. So it's probably going to be pretty close to dark by the time we get done, but at least it's not going to be a 10:30, 11, midnight tonight getting home. First day we've had sunshine in a while, and that soil temperature is warmed right on up pretty good today with that sunshine. When we started out, it was around 50 degrees, and now it's running anywhere between 60 and 65 degrees. That makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about putting soybeans in the ground. If we can get that residual heat in the ground and hopefully keep it there over the next few days when it turns off cool. Although the daytime temperatures the next few days supposed to be pretty high. Well, it's supposed to be in around between 60 and 65, but sunny too, so that'll get that soil temperature on up and hopefully keep it from dropping down too low at night. So I'll feel pretty good about putting beans in the ground tomorrow. But that being said, I've been known to be an eternal optimist when it comes to farming. Even though it might not come across my videos sometimes, I tend to look on the positive side of things, and most of the time I tend to look at the positive side of things and maybe not necessarily the realistic side of things. The good thing about trying to get these beans in the ground early is that if they don't come up, we'll know soon enough that we can still get our beans replanted in a reasonable time if we need to. So if we do have to replant, it won't necessarily be late planted beans, which would be a good thing. I'm gonna try and knock out these acres pretty quick. Get on back to the house at a reasonable time today. They're not gonna quite get done before dark. Sun just hitting the top of the treetops, and we're just getting done with this big farm that we're on. And now we got about 1.5 acres on one farm that we had to skip, and got about 3.5 acres on the last farm that we got to go back and get. As heck, it's going to take me more road time to do that than it will actual planting times. Anyway, we're going to fold up and get on to the next farm. All right, we just got this little bitty 1.5 acre patch to patch here. You can see over there where they were loading chicken litter up when he was spreading at the same time I was planting this farm. So I'm gonna get it knocked out of the way and get on back up the road. All right, done with this farm. On to the last one. All right, that right there is all we got left to do. Should take us about 10-15 minutes. All right, we just had one unit run dry. Just got started on this farm. But you know what I did tonight? I was smart. I brought extra seed with me, just in case. Yeah, she's getting low. These front interplanting units are useful for more than just planting soybeans. You also carry spare bags of corn up here, just in case you need them. That's all we got right there. Last pass of corn planting. 370 acres of corn in the ground. Let's just hope it all comes up now. And when it runs out right as we get done. All right, that's it. Corn planting 21 is a wrap. Let's get this thing folded up and back to the farm where we're on, where my truck's at, because that's where we're going to start planting beans tomorrow. I'm not going to bother driving this thing all the way in the shop to change it over to beans. We're just going to bring what we need to the field in the morning, and hopefully a couple hours we'll have this thing swapped over beans, filled up, and be putting some soybeans in the ground. Well, guys and gals, I appreciate y'all riding along with me. Appreciate y'all watching. Stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow in the next video whenever we start planting soybeans. Y'all take care. God bless.